Not a single alien face in that galactic council chamber wasn't grinning from earhole to earhole, cackling and burping with gut-splitting laughter at the pathetic human ship, but Lieutenant Powell promised to wipe those smug alien smiles right off. 2 centuries ago, in 2267, human starflight had at last advanced far enough for Earth to petition the galaxy's dominant powers for a seat on the esteemed Galactic Council. For millennia, the likes of the Everans, the Ulnari, and the merciless Sakari had spanned the stars and subjugated lesser species, leaving humanity as mere footnotes, primitive apes on a forgettable blue speck. The council chamber loomed vast and dark as a moonless night, with floating hollow displays lighting faces of 100 alien races. My boots tapped on the obsidian floor as I marched toward the podium, gripping the most important speech of my life on my holopad. I'd rehearsed 1,000 times. My eyes flicked to Councillor Niran of the Sakari, his leathery snout and obsidian eyes watching me emotionlessly. Councillors, Earth comes before you today to demonstrate our great strides in technology and to humbly request. Niran cut me off with a wave of his bony claws. Human, you can dispense with the theatrics. We've all seen your species' paltry accomplishments. Now, show us this primitive ship of yours so we can all get a good laugh and be done with this circus. I faltered momentarily, then regained my composure. With a few taps, a hologram of Earth's most advanced starship materialized. Sleek and silver, it bore the human flag as well as our motto, Per aspera ad astra, through hardship to the stars. The chamber erupted in uproarious, wheezing laughter, with some aliens pounding their consoles in mirth. I fought to suppress the heat rising in my cheeks. Niran affected an exaggerated yawn. How droll. It appears your apes only just discovered warp technology. The Sakari mastered faster-than-light travel when your kind still threw rocks at each other in caves. He fixed me with a smirk. Go back to your little dirt world, human. You have nothing to offer this council except more primitive species to feed and shelter. Your petition is denied. He slammed his gavel with a boom. The other councillors began to object, but Niran glared them into silence. My face burned with humiliation. The human delegation had entrusted me with our plea, and the aliens had slapped it down like a child's finger painting. I fought to contain my fury long enough to storm out, with some modicum of dignity. One way or another, I vowed to show these arrogant bastards what humanity was made of. If the aliens wanted to play rough, we'd be happy to oblige. There were no smiles or laughter on my face as I stepped out of the Galactic Council chamber that day. The other human representatives looked just as downcast, but beneath the shame of rejection, a fire of determination ignited in my gut. I swore I would prove those pompous alien bastards wrong about humanity one way or another. For the next year I hardly slept. I threw myself into coordinating a massive undertaking, uniting Earth's greatest scientific minds and vast resources toward one goal, advancing our technology by leaps and bounds to stick it to the Galactic Council. Propulsion, weapons, shields, everything was on the table. Countries that had bickered and fought for centuries now worked hand in hand, guided by a common purpose. Trillions of credits poured into R&D. When I wasn't bringing world leaders together, I was in the lab myself, leading a skunkworks team on a top-secret project. We were attempting to crack quantum field manipulation to enable a radically new form of faster-than-light travel. If we could outpace the dominant Sakari warp drives and cloak our ships from detection to boot, it would send a huge fuck you to the Council. We toiled day and night, running endless simulations, burning through prototypes. Just as our work neared a breakthrough, an alien signal reached Earth. It was a desperate plea from the pacifist Vondari. The ruthless Kredesh were laying waste to their worlds, and the Galactic Council had coldly refused to send aid just like they'd spat on humanity. As I read the transmission, an idea sparked. What better way to throw the Council's hypocrisy in their faces than have humanity step up and defend the innocent Vondari? I immediately volunteered to take a squad of fresh-off-the-line human ships, outfitted with our new quantum drives and advanced armaments, and confront the Kredesh marauders. The UN Security Council hesitated at first to intervene in an interstellar war, but I made an impassioned case that if humanity wanted to earn a real place in the galaxy, we had to be willing to fight for our principles, whatever the cost. Earth had to show we weren't afraid to put some skin in the game. My arguments won the day. A week later, I stood on the bridge of the UES Indefatigable, flagship of a 5-vessel task force, every ship armed to the teeth with the best human ingenuity could muster. As we rocketed toward Vondari space, I reflected on the enormity of the moment. We were about to enter our first combat against an alien foe. But this time it wouldn't be as victims or conquerors. It would be as protectors, taking a stand against brutality and indifference. Today, we would show the galaxy what humanity stood for. The nav computer chimed as the UES Indefatigable and her sister ships dropped out of FTL on the edge of the Vondari system. Powell gripped the arms of his command chair, his eyes immediately drawn to the tactical display. The Kredesh Armada swarmed around the Vondari homeworld like locusts, their ships pummeling the planet's orbital defenses with salvo after salvo of plasma fire. "Jesus," Powell muttered, "there must be 100 of them." 112, sir, his tactical officer reported. "We're outnumbered 100 to 1. Powell nodded grimly. He opened a channel to the Kredesh flagship. "This is Lieutenant Michael Powell of the United Earth ship Indefatigable. Cease your attack on the Vondari immediately, or we will be forced to engage." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the sneering face of a Kredesh admiral. "I am Admiral Zartrok," the alien growled. "You dare to threaten the Kredesh Empire, human? Your pitiful ships are no match for our might." Zartrok cut the transmission, and a heartbeat later the Kredesh fleet opened fire. Plasma bolts streaked toward the human ships, the barrage so thick it seemed to fill the void. But the Indefatigable and her companions were no ordinary vessels. Powell barked orders, and the human ships slipped into evasive maneuvers, their quantum drives allowing them to dance through the onslaught with preternatural agility. What few shots managed to land splashed harmlessly against their advanced shields. "Return fire," Powell commanded. "Quantum torpedoes full spread." The human ships unleashed a volley of shimmering projectiles, each one entangled with its target on a quantum level. The torpedoes slipped past the Kredesh shields as if they weren't even there, detonating deep within the enemy formation. Kredesh ships shattered and burned, their hulls torn open to the vacuum. On the bridge of his flagship, Zartrok gaped at the tactical display in disbelief. These upstart humans had decimated his front lines in a single salvo. Rage twisted his features as he realized he had gravely underestimated these newcomers. "All ships, concentrate fire on the human flagship," Zartrok roared. "I want that ship destroyed." The Kredesh fleet reoriented, pouring a torrent of plasma toward the Indefatigable. But Powell had anticipated this move. With a fierce grin, he engaged his ship's quantum FTL drive, blinking out of existence an instant before the enemy fire would have struck home. The Indefatigable rematerialized directly behind the Kredesh flagship, so close that Powell could see the shocked expressions on the alien bridge crew. "Fire everything!" he barked. At point-blank range, the Indefatigable unleashed the full fury of her arsenal. The Kredesh flagship's shields failed instantly under the onslaught, and Powell's follow-up salvo tore through its engines and weapons with ruthless precision. "Shields down," Zartrok's tactical officer reported, his voice edged with panic. "Engines and weapons offline. We're dead in the water." Zartrok slammed his fist against his console, his face contorted with impotent rage. As much as it galled him, he knew he had no choice. "This is Admiral Zartrok, to all Kredesh forces," he ground out. "Stand down and surrender. The humans have bested us." He glared at Powell's image on the view screen. "This isn't over, human. The Kredesh will have their revenge." But Powell wasn't listening. With the Kredesh fleet in disarray, the Vondari saw their chance. A ragtag fleet of Vondari ships, many little more than armed freighters, surged from the planet's surface to join the humans in battle. Together, they drove the invaders from the system, harrying the retreating Kredesh with merciless precision. Across the galaxy, jaws dropped and eyes widened as news of the battle spread. A tiny fleet of human ships had not only stood toe-to-toe with the dreaded Kredesh armada, but had sent them running with their tails between their legs. It was a feat unheard of in living memory. The Vondari, too, could scarcely believe what they had witnessed. As the last Kredesh ship limped away into FTL, the Vondari fleet erupted into cheers and celebrations that echoed across the comm channels. Earth had done what the Galactic Council would not. They had answered the call for help, and in doing so had forever altered the balance of power in the galaxy. On the bridge of the Indefatigable, Powell leaned back in his chair, a satisfied smile playing across his lips. Today, humanity had taken its first step onto the galactic stage and shown the universe what it meant to stand up for what was right. There would be consequences, of course. The Galactic Council would not take kindly to being shown up by the upstart humans. But for now, Powell allowed himself a moment to savor the victory. Earth had drawn a line in the sand and proven that they were a force to be reckoned with. Whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them head-on, united and unafraid. Akaunosti. In the aftermath of humanity's astounding victory over the Kredesh, the Galactic Council had no choice but to acknowledge Earth's rightful place among the stars. In a historic decision, the Council granted humanity a provisional seat at the table, with Lieutenant Powell serving as Earth's first representative. But as Powell took his place in the Grand Council chamber, the weight of all he had lost pressed down on his shoulders. The battle against the Kredesh had been won, but at a terrible cost. Too many of his friends and crewmates had given their lives in defense of the Vondari. Their sacrifices hung heavy on Powell's conscience, a burden he knew he would carry for the rest of his days. As Earth's ambassador, Powell found himself thrust into a treacherous political arena where rival factions schemed and plotted to undermine humanity's newfound influence. Despite his best efforts to forge alliances and promote peace, Powell quickly realized that the galaxy was a far more complex and dangerous place than he had ever imagined. Decades passed, and Powell's pioneering work in quantum FTL technology ushered in a new era of human exploration and expansion. Earth became a major player on the galactic stage, with human colonies and outposts stretching across the stars. But with this rapid growth came new dangers. A mysterious alien race known only as the Void began to take notice of humanity's rise. They viewed Earth's ascendancy as a threat to their own dominance, and tensions between the two civilizations quickly escalated. As the specter of war loomed once more, Powell, now an aging veteran, was called back into service to face this new threat. With a heavy heart, he prepared to lead humanity into its greatest challenge yet, knowing that the price of victory might be higher than ever before. The struggle for humanity's survival and prosperity was far from over, but as Powell looked out across the stars, he knew that the sacrifices he and countless other heroes had made would not be in vain. They had fought and died to secure humanity's place in the galaxy, and their legacy would never be forgotten. Powell stepped onto the bridge of his new flagship, the UES Dauntless. The ship was a marvel of human ingenuity, a testament to how far Earth had come in such a short time. But as he took his seat in the command chair, Powell couldn't shake the sense of unease that gnawed at his gut. "Status report," he barked, his voice gruff with age and experience. His tactical officer, a young woman named Jenna Novak, snapped to attention. "All systems online, sir. The fleet is ready to depart on your order." Powell nodded, his gaze fixed on the view screen. Beyond the dauntless hull, the inky void of space beckoned, vast and inscrutable. Somewhere out there, the enemy waited, poised to strike at the heart of everything humanity had built. "Take us out," Powell commanded. "It's time to show the Void what happens when they mess with Earth." The Dauntless surged forward, its quantum drives propelling it to impossible speeds. Around it, the rest of the human fleet fell into formation, a phalanx of silver ships glinting in the starlight. As they raced toward the unknown, Powell couldn't help but feel a sense of pride mingled with trepidation. Humanity had come so far, achieved so much, but the galaxy was a big place, full of dangers and wonders yet unseen. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Powell knew that he and his crew would face them head-on, united in their determination to defend Earth and all she stood for. They were the guardians of humanity's future, the shield that stood between the light of civilization and the darkness of the void. And as the Dauntless plunged into the abyss, Powell silently vowed that he would not rest until that future was secure, no matter the cost. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.